Good morning and welcome to Rising on a very foggy morning in Washington, D.C., but I'm in a good mood because I think we have a lot of subjects today that I am interested in discussing, so that's always nice.
Me too. I think one of the subjects is really near and dear to my heart is going to be your radar, which I took a sneak peek at. I'm so happy to see these beautiful polling results that we're going to discuss. Maybe not what you have to say about the texture of it, but the actual results make me pleased.
I also have to say, Lindsay, I'm digging your look today.
You know what? This is like a chic.
And the eye, what is that? I don't know.
The eye makeup is a little.
Eye makeup.
Okay, I appreciate it. You've been given a lot of compliments
eyeshadow
this week. Is it because it's Valentine's Day week extended? You're trying to be extra lovely and sweet?
You know, there was a Friday the 13th last week, and there's going to be a Friday the 13th next month, too.
That's scary.
I just realized that on the calendar. Isn't that weird?
I tried to go lovely. You wanted to go dark.
Well, because we were manifesting Morticia and Gomez.
Yes,
so
dark and lovely.
A little loveliness and a little darkness together.
Perfect. That's our combo. Yeah. Coming up on Rising, breaking this morning, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, former Prince Andrew, has been arrested after Epstein file revelations. We're going to get into that.
Plus, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg testified in a landmark case about social media addiction.
And what's the real reason Republicans are pushing for more voting restrictions right before the midterms? I'm going to discuss that in my lens. But first, Robby, tell everybody about what's on your radar.
Somehow Kamala returned, quoting those dreadful Star Wars sequel movies, in case you can't tell. Anyway, Kamala Harris got some good news from the latest CNN stats. According to Harry Enten, my favorite pollster, voters are having buyer's remorse, and if we could somehow redo the 2024 election, she would actually beat Donald Trump. So says Enten. Take a look.
Threats of some folks had a few. What are we talking about here? Well, let's just take a look here. Okay, choice for 2024 presidential election. The actual was Donald Trump winning by about 1.5 points. It rounds to a point. But take a look here. In a polled redo between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris in April of 2025, it was within the margin of error, right? Kamala Harris by a point. But look at where we are now, according to an NBC News SurveyMonkey poll. Kamala Harris wins in a redo, asking folks, essentially, if you could redo the 2024 election, how would you vote? She wins it by, get this, 8 points, a massive shift from what we saw back in November of 2024 when Donald Trump won by 1 point. And I will note that this sample was weighted to the 2024 result in which Donald Trump won by 1 point, but yet Kamala Harris in this weighted sample, get this, she wins by 8 amongst the sample that voted for Trump by 1.
Now, there's just one problem. We obviously can't go back in time and re-vote. Moreover, it's just not that strange for voters to lose some faith in the incumbent and swing back toward the other party. I suspect that's what this poll is capturing. Some frustration with Trump and the GOP, not genuine enthusiasm for Kamala Harris. But of course, Harris is welcome to read it however she wants, however her heart desires. And she has given every indication that she intends to run for president again, even though many of the leaders of her own party are betting on other folks. Nancy Pelosi has already thrown her support behind Gavin Newsom. And the left-wing base of the party, which is probably sick of having their candidates overlooked by leadership, will be pulling out all the stops for AOC. Harris, on the other hand, I suppose, has to argue that she's owed a do-over. After all, she didn't get to run her campaign her way. She only had a couple weeks to sell herself to the American people, owing to Joe Biden's late exit from that race. Would more time have really benefited Kamala, though? I think that's an open question, but the answer is no. Kamala lost support over the course of the race as it became clear she was not at all prepared to separate herself from Biden at all. In fact, there appears to be some kind of inverse correlation between Harris's popularity and her presence on the national stage. Now that she's mostly unseen and unheard, I guess she's popular again with respect to Trump. But if she were actually out there campaigning for president, reminding everyone about her, my guess is voters would remember that they don't have confidence in her in the first place. Now, she's got a couple years to figure out a winning message, of course, but I have a feeling that Kamala Harris's time has come and it has gone. Voters want a fresh face. Democratic primary voters want someone who will channel their anger and their rage and evince their far-left politics. Does that really sound like Harris? I'm not even convinced it sounds like Gavin Newsom. Frankly, it mostly sounds like AOC. That is the one to watch for. As a reminder, it's not sane normal people voting in Democratic primaries, it's Democratic primary voters. So we'll find out about that in 2028.
That is not nice. Not sane normal normal people. These are sane.
Democratic primary voters, not sane, not normal.
Yes, they are. They're very normal.
I'd say
and
the same
sane.
about Republican primary
Okay.
voters. Not sane, not normal. They're about to choose Ken Paxton to be the Republican in Texas, someone who has a dramatically lower chance of winning and is scandal-plagued, but they can't help themselves. Democratic primary voters the same way.
Okay,
primary
fine.
voters are bad.
I think, you're just wiping this, with a huge brush and just saying, oh, this doesn't work like this. Well, Trump didn't win in 2020 and then came back with a vengeance because people thought, well, his old economy worked better than Biden's current economy, so we're going to bring the old guy back. Mm-hmm. So you understand how this works, right? It's not like frustration is not the same thing as enthusiasm because it's only a two-party system. Right. So if you're frustrated at one, guess who wins? The other party. So this is really a time where that's how our system works, whether you like it or not. And Biden also himself lost the Democratic nomination twice, 2008, 1998. So, and then he became president. It happens all the time in our politics where somebody who didn't have the right moment and didn't have the right campaign all of a sudden does, and now they're the president. It happened with Trump, who's the president right now. I also think that
she didn't ever win the nomination.
You're right. That's a difference. So she has a distinct opportunity to differentiate herself and the time that she was asking for. I'm not saying that she's my favorite pick. I'm saying that you sound so confident about the fact that more time wouldn't have helped her. But there really is a strategic thought to more time, right? You need to have donor ramp up. You need to have some field infrastructure. She needs to have differing messaging from Biden, which is really difficult to do if you're serving as vice president under someone who people were highly critical of. And it seemed that he didn't really want to give her the opportunity to run for president. He was more forced to by people like Nancy Pelosi and others.
Well, he wanted to give her the opportunity in 4 years.
He didn't want to give it to her right now. He wanted to run again. So I think there's like layers to this whole thing where she probably lacked some of that confidence because she didn't know how far was too far without completely destroying the party or the administration that she built.
It takes to win.
No, you can't. You're working it
ruthlessly
because then you would call her weak for sitting there as vice president and accepting all the policies that Biden pushed forward for the last 4 years. So she was damned if you do, damned if you don't in that situation. So more time.
Was damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Right. So more time would certainly differentiate her. And people, we know how this goes with Trump fatigue, and we know how this goes when people get exhausted of the antics. All those people in the middle that were like supporting Nikki Haley, that were okay with Trump's policy suggestions on the campaign
all
trail.
Those people supporting Nikki Haley, what? All those.
She was polling.
People?
No, she was polling like in the teens at a certain point. Like people were really.
Oh yeah, she was really.
That's not a high, no, it's not a high polling. I'm saying these are independent people that also maybe didn't like Kamala for some of the things that she was doing that were too left-leaning. There's people that still vote in elections, and we've had studies saying that's more of the electorate that doesn't feel aligned with a party wholly. So you have to be somebody who can bring those people over, and perhaps with all the Trump fatigue and the antics and not living up to what he said he would do on the campaign trail, now Kamala has an opportunity to explain what she would have done differently than Biden and also be maybe a stable force that people were looking for, just something calm and collected. That's exactly why Biden won in 2020, because people were looking for something calm after Trump.
Yes. People are looking for economic stability, and that's what Trump promised, and he hasn't fully delivered on that, so there is some fatigue setting in, and that's not good. And Republicans' window to fix that is closing, which is why I am worried that if Democrats could nominate a far-left radical like AOC, and she could actually become president, and that would be terrifying.
You're so worried? I mean, if Trump was able to become president, and it's not terrifying enough to have me move to Canada, I think that you can deal with an AOC presidency and it'd be just fine. We'll have lots to talk about, and I'll have lots of defending to do probably.
I mean, I'll enjoy my job more. That's true. You'll be on defense, and I'll be on offense.
Because every day you have to explain.
It's way more fun to be on offense than it is to be on defense.
And every day you got to explain the antics to me and get to the policy that's buried somewhere in there under all these antics. And
so much fun I'm having. Up next, President Trump is responding to Hillary Clinton, saying that his administration was engaging in an Epstein Files cover-up. We'll be right back.